So, hi everyone. I'm Florin. I'm from Nagarro, and this talk is about dependency management, especially when you have multi-repositories. This is me. I'm working as a .NET developer since I started. Several projects so far, long history on code. But enough about me. Let's discuss about what we currently have for today. My main topics for today is about the dependency, and we have here dependency management. What is it with it? Why is it important for us, and how it's impacting us? Package repositories. I I, I realize it's not very clear how it says, but I will make sure you will be all with the information. Then I wanted to present an example about the NuGet packages. Not necessarily how you use them, but how you can create your own packages. And why would you want to do that? And at the end, we will have a short Q&A. But if you have any questions and you write them, I'm open to answer them as soon as possible. So why do we need this dependency management? Well, first of all is to ensure that we are in control about what packages we are using for each build. We know that packages appear from Microsoft, for example, or for other third parties are released constantly. New versions appear almost every day. So how you know that you are consistent with what you're testing, that a new package won't break your code? And even if a new package appears and it will break your code, it won't mess up the code to everyone. So we need to do this dependency management to take care of these aspects. Also, you want to make sure that the code you test is the same for the release or for different releases or for different builds. You don't want one colleague to test with one code with certain package versions and another colleague to test on different packages. You might end up with bugs that are not reproducible on my laptop. And thirdly, this management can be done for third parties like Microsoft packages or other libraries, third party libraries, but also for internal packages. I might have several repositories that will bring me some data about certain helpers or certain utilities that I might use along the project and along different areas. And I don't want to have code application because that would be pointless and extra work for nothing. So I might want to have my own packages that will control what I'm seeing. How am I doing on what packages I'm working with? And also with that, I will have control over my release dependencies. I know that, okay, guys, we stabilize this library, even if it's internal. Now go ahead and use this. Meanwhile, we will improve it, but you won't be impacted by our changes or by our testing. So why do we need to control the version of third parties? Can you control it? And what can go wrong if you don't control it? Here is mostly, probably the most important aspect, that if you work with NuGet packages, for example, whenever a NuGet update happens, you will always be impacted, either good or bad. A few fixes might appear, a few bugs might appear, a few inconsistencies might appear, but along the way, you will need to update. You cannot always stay on the same 1.0.1 package from the beginning to the end of the project, even if it's 4 years old project, just so that you won't be impacted by new versions. This clearly doesn't help on the long run. And also, each package, each third library has its own vulnerabilities. You don't want to bring that into production code on the long run. You don't want to leave your code open to attacks, to bugs, to critical errors. And also, even if you do have some third parties you won't change, or some third parties that interact with the system or with the Windows, and you don't want to change them because who knows what is the impact, a Windows update might come and break everything apart. And then you will need to update. So why not take it proactively and ensure you have a proper version, a new version, every single release, or whenever you have the time or the business constraints to do it, or the technical constraints. So you want to be in the full control of your dependencies to know when I will update to a new version. Why am I updating to this specific version of a third party? Oh, this new package broke my code. Okay, what am I doing now? How will I do it? All these aspects are very important on the long run. If you have a 6-month project with 10 dependencies, you might not bother too much about this because by the time you need a new package, the project might end. Why to bother? But if you're working on multi-year projects like 4 years, 5 years, 6 years projects, this matters a lot. Even Microsoft is releasing a new LTS dotnet framework every 2 years now. What are you going to do? Stick on the same old version? Or at some point go to the new version? I've seen code migrated from .NET Framework 4.5 to .NET Framework 4.8, which is like maybe 10 years difference. And you cannot use the same packages. You definitely need new packages to use that are compiled and are prepared for the new frameworks. So that's also a huge impact for the long running project. As well, you might have internal packages, be them shared libraries, templates, frameworks, different entities or different components built inside the company that are being used either on one project or on several projects at once. However you go, it will be very important to make sure you have the latest version in this case. You might see a bug in your code. Go in the shared libraries, fix it. I want to test my new code. So you need to do very fast changes in this case. How are you doing build-to-build testing for these packages? How are you ensuring that if I change the internal package, I'm not affecting the production code? How fast am I testing this? These are all aspects that on the long run matter a lot. Probably some of you encountered issues with new packages that just totally break. Okay, revert, but I still need a new functionality. What am I going to do? How am I going to do it? Now, going to some approaches, I just put here two of the most easiest applicable approaches, especially this is for the internal packages. Because for the third-party packages, you can just create, I don't know, fixed versions. You can just never do a NuGet update, and you will be safe. Go always for the release, and that's it. But what you do with the internal packages? And the main topic is the internal packages, because that's where you actually get to gain something. You have implemented the work you needed. You did the work you wanted. So why not use it? First approach is all in one place, I would say, where you have all your internal packages built or internal components built in only one location, either them being on the same machine or on the same network location, the output. Either way, you will have everything in one place. Is this good? Is this bad? Depending on what happens. If you use one package with different versions across the different repositories, who is to say on what version am I going to end up with in this final location? Is it the old one, a newer one? Is it compatible with my code? Is it not compatible with my code? How am I ensuring the same version is used across all repositories? The other approach would be with archives, for example, getting artifacts from the build process as a NuGet and then use it to a different pipeline. But this creates high coupling and a lot of dependency at pipeline levels. You pretty much did not do too much. So you can use package repositories, and in the final area where we will talk about the NuGet packages, I will also discuss about the aspects on how to use these and how to do this management in the end. You can have several package repositories like npm, chocolate, maven, docker, whatever. There are a lot of on the market. Some are free, some are paid, some are in-house use, some are externals. There are a lot of approaches that you can use. But the most important one is how are we actually going to use this? And for that, I'm just going to do a small demo. Just hoping that my Visual Studio will start. Can a host share my screen? Or is it a way to do it or to change? Oh yeah, thank you. Okay. So I have here a small project, some dummy setup. But what I'm interested in is in creating in this is in using these models. This is in order to create a package. And if I'm going to unload this, I haven't used this here and here, but I will clearly be able to show this one. This new spec will be able to show me a lot of details about how my package will look like and what files will it use. For example, give me all the DLLs built by this one. But also, I can do different approaches. Like, I want to get these targets and props that will influence my build flow. For example, or adding properties to the build flow. All these are essentials because I can always use stuff. For example, if I go to dotnet.org and let's say I want to use a new package like the Newtonsoft, I will install it. And now I specify here to let me format, and I'm going to use package references because this is cooler. Not this one. Wrong project. Yeah, I'm using some not okay locations. That's why it's commenting like this. Because it's possible to use packages from local locations, from local files. So now if I'm going to unload and see how this one looks like, I see here the NuGet. This is for third parties. Now, if I want to make sure this is fully used and it will not be changed no matter what happens, I can just use the fixed version approach. In this case, NuGet restore and NuGet update will never change this, no matter what. If I want to use from some local packages a pre-released version, for example, from develop, I can use this approach. In this case, NuGet will look at what packages are available with this version, like 13.01, and either having a pre-released version, and I think we already see it like a beta, but also what its fixed version as well. So if I'm not now going here, and go with include pre-release, We see here that I can do an update now with the beta 1. But if, let me just go to change this /proj easier. If I'm going to change this like this, load, manage. Because I put it include, it still says that it's possible. But if I put like a fixed version, no updates available. Even though if I'm searching for that package, I have it here. And the beta it's available, but not for me. And if I want to do an update, let's see, is it allowing me? It's modified. So yes, they changed it because I personally forced it to do an update. But if you would use the update command, just like I want to do an update, it will not change it. This one is a very good approach if you want to update local packages. Whenever you do a build, they will look in the Artifactory, or the package repository, whichever you specified, and it will do an update and will take the latest version. The latest version meaning the biggest number alphabetically. So it will not be numerical necessarily, it will be alphabetically. If you have, for example, something like this, it's less than this. Even though, for example, here I could have even the build 1000 from develop. If I have an RC, the first build, this is still higher because the R is higher rated than D. Automatically, this package will be selected instead of this one if I have with star. Of course, if I have nothing like just this is higher ranked than anything that it's a pre-released version. So these are aspects that can help me control what am I going to use. I want to use any version up to this. Doesn't matter, it's pre-released right now. So now if I'm going here to manage, I will see that I don't have any updates because it's the latest available based on my constraints. And it's here, it's installed. Even though it's a pre-release. If package, if this one will be released, I will be able to see it without any problems. And if I use the NuGet update, it will go update and it will do the restore with the released version. So this information can be seen in the output from the package manager, and here it will say what packages it brought me. If right now I'm going to the packages and let's just delete the Newtonsoft. I have here several versions.
So Florian, just a second. I think we're just
Yes.
seeing like a slide. You're showing something visual. We cannot see it.
Oh, I had, sorry. Apparently my share got interrupted. Can you guys?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. What was the last thing you saw?
The slide. Um,
Uh, Before. So.
Now you're testing my attention, right?
So.
I'll put it differently.
Uh,
We just lost the last 15 seconds, 20 seconds. So.
okay then. In this case, let me do a better view on this one. I think I'm going to use a different project for this, because that will show better these approaches that are available. Hmm, how's this one? This one will showcase better. Yes, right here. So if you see here, I have the dev one version. Uh, Now it's no longer visible. Let me.
No, no longer visible.
Okay, now.
Not really. Yes, we're good now.
Okay, perfect. So here, what I talked about in the last few minutes is that this way, whenever it's going to try to do a restore, it will try to restore this dev one version always. If I'm going to put this, it will always try to return the biggest available version, which is less or equal to 100 released. If we want to say how these are applicable, it will be like 1.0.0 dash dev1 will always be less than 1.1.0 RC, for example. It doesn't matter this year, it's 10,000, because this one is alphabetically is less than R. Automatically, this package is less. This one is still less than the released version. So if I have a release version, that is the biggest available version with this version. And automatically that implies that, for example, this will always be bigger than 100 released. Okay. So in this case, using this approach, I'm actually covering all the packages in this area. If I'm going to do this, it will automatically capture all packages in this area, which are greater than 0.0.0 but less or equal to 1.0.1. So in this case, I can always make sure that I'm not going to use any bigger version than this. Of course, I can just force a certain version like this. It doesn't matter. Like, let me take it this one. In this case, if I have all these versions available, it will only give me this because I forced him to just go for this exact version. This is useful for testing, for checking out different issues, different errors, bugs, and also based on this, even if I have a release branch, I can just ensure that I will have that particular build number or that particular release. If I have like this, that means only this version is available, the 1.0.1 released. I will not be able to use any pre-released versions or bigger versions or anything like this. Okay, and with these, I can also control what is going to happen if I have third parties or others. I put here the wrong one. Let me just clean up this. Because this NuGet config is not used properly anymore, so I don't need it. And in this case, if I'm going to reopen the solution, it will update to the proper location. So for NuGet config, if you're going to use it or if you're already using it, if you have a NuGet.config file near your near your solution file, it will always use that one. So if I have put here a NuGet.config here, it will always use that one. If not, it will use the biggest it has, is the first it finds up the locations and in a parent, or the ones that he's using from up data and rooming location. This is something that's a convention done by Microsoft. So now I have all these.
Florian, same story. We're seeing the slide.
Somehow it's, yeah, I don't know why it stopped. It constantly stops to share. It's not doing anything.
Something related to the management of the dependencies.
Yes, it's still a dependency, of course.
Good, we're
So
good.
I will try to focus whenever the screen is no longer showing. Okay, it says that I don't find, it cannot do restore because it cannot find the locations. And that's, of course, because I no longer have these ones. Let's see. Oh, of course, because I changed the location. So right now, I'm actually using locally stored files. Yeah, it's not. allowing me to do this. So if you see here, I wanted to create this version, the 1.0.0-1, and he says that I don't no longer have this NuGet package. So in this case, I'm just going to remove this so that we can install this one. And now it's allowing me somehow. Unload. So I have now here the file or the project. As I was showing earlier, and I think that at that moment the share screen stopped, I see here that this file is shown as installed, this package. If I'm checking this one to star, and I'm going to reopen the window so that it's updating the information, it still shows as installed, even though now I have it like this. If I'm going to put this one, now it says that I have installed 13.0.1-0 and that I can do an update to 13.02 beta. Because now it saw that I have a different one, and now it said that this one is installed. If I just put 2 with star, it will automatically should say that now I have 13.02 beta installed. But if I'm going to do this, not available, because this package was not yet released. No available in this source. It says that it's installed theoretically because I have it here, but it cannot find what's with this package. Instead, if I put just one, oh, we found it. We know what that package is, and it's an update. It's possible. As well as setting fixed versions, it says that I cannot do an update to 13.02. Yes, it's here, but I cannot do an update. It's no longer showing as updates. So this is the area where you can focus and where you can control how the configuration and how the dependencies will work. Now, if we move back the slides, I'm going to ask a host to change from screen. Yeah, thank you. We have these NuGet packages, and this is a description given from Microsoft documentation, that it's a simple zip file with some metadata, as well as the compiled code. The documentation from Microsoft specifies a lot on how to create these packages, what they are doing, how to use them. And it's very powerful if you're using it right. For example, the Entity Framework package from Microsoft that enables you to do migrations. All those scripts, that PowerShell scripts that are being used there, are actually provided through this package in a special folder. And There you can see all the documentation on the Microsoft page. This is, I'm getting close to the end of the presentation, and this would be an example of a new spec. Basically, this is the description on how a package should be constructed. Having an ID, a version, a description, metadata, and also if you see that version is with dollars, that means that that value can be provided when the package is built. You don't need to update here the version and then do a package and then change back here and do a new package. You can just update the command package to just bring you the proper version. So if you are using this in a build, you can just pass over the version plus the build number without a problem. Now, this was my session. I hope it gave you a few ideas on how to do some dependency management. And my most important info for you is that always be aware of what do you need and don't over engineer.
Absolutely. um, I have to remind myself this from time to time, once a week at least. So it's a good piece of advice. It was a very good walkthrough, Florian. Now, if you were to summarize, for someone who's not necessarily, into the dependency management, sometimes you just land into a project and this stuff is already there. So yeah.
Yeah. What I would personally give as an info for that person is always check how the dependencies are managed. Like if I want to do an update on a package, what are the consequences to that? How are those consequences tracked? Like, am I going to impact only my branch? And if it's all good, merge to develop. If not, everything gets scrapped. Or or I need to do some changes that will impact the code for the others as well. So this is what I would look at dependency management. What are the consequences when changing something? Is it a risk or a consequence I can handle? Or it's something that can cost me a lot? And from there I would start.
Okie doke. Excellent. So, Florian, thank you so much for being with us
Thank
at
you as
the
well.
podcast today. And we're looking forward to having you next time.